Good morning, everyone. I can see people coming on in. We will just wait another minute or two just so we can get everyone in and then we will kick off. Hope everyone is enjoying the sunshine that we've had recently. Makes change.
Yeah, it's come out of nowhere, hasn't it? It's just one of those where just getting used to the rain, all sun across the board. Crazy.
I know. Hopefully it's here to stay.
You say that, but it's raining out my window right now. So
oh no. I
yeah.
can see an ominous cloud coming this way, so I'll probably be with you soon.
I mean, the grass will like it. The grass is in the pain after all this sun, but not a good sign for the weekend. Just gets it out of its system. The sun comes back. That's what we want, right?
That's what we want. Morning all. Amazing. We will get going in approximately 30 seconds. So get your waters, teas, coffees ready, and then we'll get going. Fab. Should we start this? Let's get going. Amazing. So thank you so much for all joining us this morning, bright and early, for transforming your e-commerce marketing into a retention boosting machine. So as for some introductions, I'm Vicky Beach, Partnerships Manager here at Fresh Relevance, where I'm responsible for making sure all of our clients and prospective clients are connected with all the best tech in the industries and agencies as well. And my job today is to take you through a survey that we did at the beginning of the year, looking at loyalty and how consumer behavior has changed, obviously, over the last 15 months, and therefore what tactical insights can we get to therefore influence our loyalty strategy. And this is...
And I'm Jamie Huskisson. I'm the CEO at JH. So we're all about getting our merchants 2 steps ahead in their market against their competition, thinking outside the box. So, today for me is about getting you thinking strategically and prioritizing your ideas correctly, but also de-risking them, getting it right first time, especially when it's things like loyalty and retention in front of your customers. Super important, right? So what we're going to do later is we're going to do a few exercises to turn that into a robust retention plan. So make sure you've got a pen and paper somewhere, because I'm going to ask you to do a lot of writing in a very short amount of time.
A lot of writing, love it. And just to note, guys, there is a Q&A. Well, there's time for Q&A at the end. So throughout, please put questions in the chat. Jamie will be manning the chat. And then, if you want to ask them at the end, we will have time to answer them as well. So without further ado, Fresh Relevance Loyalty Survey. So to cover the topic of retention, we actually did a survey at the beginning of the year in partnership with Census Wide, and we polled 2,000 nationally representative consumers in the UK. So as we all know, the impacts of the last 15 months cannot go unmissed. Retailers face tighter budgets, the ever-expanding pool of competitors, meaning that retaining your loyal customers has never been more important, but never been more competitive. Therefore, we need to be thinking outside the box and new ideas to retain people. And then thinking about the effect of the pandemic that has had on consumers. So changing the way people shop, change of habits, more time spent at home. The list really does go on. So keeping up to date with customer or consumer insights and knowing what they want is key when planning your loyalty strategy. So the report covers 3 C's. So the 3 C's of customer loyalty. Number 1, convenience. So what do consumers want and don't want from the customer experience? Number 2, communications. How do they want to hear from brands, and how do they want to be communicated, and how do they want to receive these messages? And lastly, incentives. So what do they expect in return for the loyalty that they give to these brands? So what I'm going to do today is break these 3 down, show a couple of examples, and see what practical outcomes can come from looking at convenience, communications, and incentives. And there's 2 age groups that were actually pooled in this survey. So baby boomers, which are over 55s, and Gen Z, which is the 16 to 24-year-olds. So having a look at those two age groups and seeing how these tactics differ as well. So number one, convenience. So what do consumers want and don't want from the website experience? So when it comes to the experience online, consumers demand convenience. Baby boomers, so that's the over 55 category, are particularly unforgiving when the website is frustrating and it's hard to navigate. Almost half would actually consider not shopping with a brand if it's hard to navigate and there's friction for finding their desired products. And on the flip side of that, thinking of Gen Z, they're more likely to abandon a retailer whose mobile site is hard to function, because that's obviously the primary device that they're shopping on and using to look and engage with brands. And then it also pays to treat people according to their life cycle stage. We found that almost a third of loyal customers find it really frustrating when they're shown offers for new customers and things like that. So you're not treating your loyal customers specific to them, and they're not seeing things that are exclusive for them buying from you time and time again. So let's get into it then. So 30% want product ratings and reviews. So in fact, 1 in 3 consumers are more likely to purchase if a store shows them product ratings and reviews from other customers. So knowing what people say about a product, how it fits, is it true to size, true to colour, especially when we can't see products in real life over the past 15 months. So using ratings and review providers is really easy to do this. Example here from Sunglasses Shop. They're pulling through the product reviews onto recommendations, just making that really seamless. But then also pulling through reviews on the PDP page, just making it really easy for that shopper to find, right, what is a 5-star rated product, and just making it that more convenient and seamless. On to the second one. So 28% want retailers to highlight important cutoff dates. So the key here is to keep your customers up to date and knowledgeable about promotions and anything that is going to affect their shopping experience, whether they shop today or maybe they shop in 2 days' time when a sale is on. A great example here from Molton Brown, using countdown timers to let their shoppers know when access to an exclusive edition ends. Also great for next day delivery cutoff or when a sale starts and ends. And lastly, for convenience, 23% want retailers to make it easy to discover more products that I might like. So recommendations. Great tool to streamline down all the products that you sell into a block of 4, block of 5, whatever it may be, that are most relevant to that shopper based on their browsing behavior, their preferences, and their life cycle stage. When customers reach the cart page, which is the example here, this shouldn't be an area that's ignored, as it can be more inviting and useful to the shopper. So if they put one particular product in their cart, why not recommend other products that go well with that item, or customers have also bought? You're going to increase your average order value and make it easier for that shopper to find the other products.
It's a great point there in terms of just relevant products. You know, it's one thing having the block, but it's got to be relevant. The other thing you can think about here from your perspective, just it helps the customer too, is maybe there are cheaper versions of this product that you make higher margin on. So it can be helpful to the customer for them to say, well, here's an own brand version that I make 90% markup on versus this 5% brand you've got in your basket, right? So consider all the angles as to how they get there. The other thing I'd say on the mobile side is just consider landscape you're giving. You know, the Trustpilot example, there's a really great one because there's 3 to 4 reviews on the page. I've seen a couple of brands in the last few weeks that have 40 on their page. And you just think nobody's scrolling through that someone's going to abandon that page. So just it's all about that marrying up in the experience. Think about how it is to be on the site and not just the experience you're offering to a customer.
Yeah, amazing points there. And yeah, margin data I think is something so important to note here. If you can, if you've got an engine that you can import your margin data and then recommend products that are like that, I mean, it's just a win-win for the retailers, really. So on to the second C, communication. So how consumers want to be communicated with, and what emails they want to receive. So as far as communications are concerned, particularly baby boomers want to take the reins for this. So almost half, so that's the over 55 category, want control over the type and the frequency of marketing emails they receive. So the importance of targeted real-time messaging is pretty clear. You probably all have some triggers set up. They're great tactics to send real-time emails based on the specific behavior that a shopper has shown on site or previously at an individual level. And baby boomers actually expressed a desire for back in stock and price drop alerts. So that's out of the box, showing when something has dropped in price or it was out of stock, and just reminding them that this is what they're interested in. But as a comparison, Gen Z expressed more interest for personalized post-purchase guides and replenishment emails to make it easier for them to shop with their favorite brand time and time again. So some different strategies there to think about for two different age groups. So 25% want price drop alerts and back in stock. So these alerts, as I just said, use previous browsing behavior to remind shoppers that a product has since dropped in price, or they were looking at something and it was out of stock, but it's now back in stock. So yeah, most retailers, and I'm sure you all do, have cart and browse abandonment set up. And they're great and they're tried and tested. But these triggers are a bit different. They're out of the box and they set yourselves ahead from your competitors, because easily reminding the shopper of things they were previously looking at, they might have forgotten, and you're making it easy to go back to that product and putting it in their inbox. Country Attire do a great example of this. So this is a price drop alert email showing the picture of the product to remind the shopper clearly what they were looking at. It shows the before price and now the dropped price, and it also includes some recommendations in that email to just make it easy for the shopper to find other products that will be related to them. On to the second one for communication. So 32% are frustrated by offers that are no longer available when clicking through. There's actually nothing more frustrating when you see something you like in an email, you click on it, only to find it's out of stock online or the promotion has actually ended. So it's super easy to curb this frustration by leveraging content at the point of open. So what that means is if an email was sent 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago, and since that product has gone out of stock or it's changed in price, it's gone back to full price, when the shopper opens the email today, more relevant products that are still within the discount or in the promotion will be shown, and making sure that those products are in stock. On the contrary, you can send emails at the point of send, as I'm sure you're all aware, if it suits the product that you're promoting or the promotion. We would always recommend doing at the point of open to curb this frustration and to keep consumers happy.
I think there's definitely levels to these as well, right? So the back in stock, and price alerts, a lot of people will say, well, they have to opt into those, but you have to think about things like wish lists. If I've got a list of 10 things that I really want to buy from you, it's not inconvenient for you to send me a regular email to say, here's how they do it. Have you considered this might be a good addition, going back to those recommendations? But also the £500 you had, they're now actually 350. Did you know that? Sometimes that's what people are waiting for. They're waiting for an occasion to buy that list. And you reaching out to them and saying, actually, it's a little bit cheaper, what's the worst that can happen? They go, well, that's really nice of them, but not right now, right? It's not going to annoy somebody for you to be helping in that way.
Definitely. And yeah, made a really good point there. Wish lists. So many retailers aren't utilizing it. At the end of the day, that's a tailored and curated list of products that customers want. And it, as you say, it's a wish list. So reminding them that what's in it, what's still in stock, has it changed in price, is a really great way of just, again, making it easy for that shopper. And the last one on communication, 20% want personalized emails. So consumers these days are actually aware of personalization and they want tailored offers. So they want consumers to understand them and know they're making an effort and not doing that blanket approach to everyone. Thornton's do an amazing job here of personalizing the hero banner in their emails, actually with the customer's name. So really nice touch if you are in the gifting industry, or the product does sway that way, just making that customer feel special, and it makes it stand out to your competitors. So key here is think what banners, recommendations, countdown timers, social proof, list goes on, what can change for each shopper to make that email more unique. Fab. And then on, oh yeah, go on.
One question in the chat, Vicky. So Salons Direct have asked, they were wondering if the survey that this is based on were organic answers or preempted. So just with the percentages, it's not to say that 30% were, but 68% weren't. Does that make sense? So for example, do they not want personalized emails, or is it more just it's these people really want it, but the 80% aren't too fussed? Like, what do the percentages mean? How should people be hearing mention them?
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. We can share the report after this, and it does say how it was done. From my memory, I have a feeling it was the latter. So it was more that, do you really care about this, rather than saying, no, I don't care about this. So a bit of a mix, just to see really the preference, rather than they're not interested, if you get me. But yeah, as a follow-up to this, we'll send around the reports. You can have a look for yourselves.
Is to say this strongly adds to my experience, and therefore I would be a more loyal, retained customer. They're not saying this out loud, of course, but it's how we're translating it, to say, if you have this, I'm more likely to purchase with you regularly. I'm more likely to build an affinity with your brand, to be there, and the rest.
Yeah,
a point I can quickly make on the personalized emails, if it's okay. I think one is just having a really great email system in the first place. I think two is that the more loyal the customers are being offered the chance, the more chances you offer somebody to be loyal and to customize it to them, the more they'll take, right? So the best email systems will allow you to ask the customer to be segmented in the first place. You know, do you like in-store events? Do you like pop-ups? Do you want the new exclusive products? What's your favorite range? And so on, right? And you're able to prompt those questions. And when people click and take certain actions in those emails, that's going back into the segmentation of the customers, so you can be more personalized. So Thornton's are a really good example of this, where they will take the wish list and the occasions, and they will send you a reminder 2 weeks away from a birthday. But if you've not set a reminder for that birthday, but you might have, say, ordered something in the past that looks birthday-ish to them, they will reach out a month in advance and say, you ordered this time last year. Don't mean to be funny, but is it someone's birthday soon? And that thing of, I talk for a few of us, is that thing of saying, sometimes you've forgotten. And that's a nice reminder as the first part of getting that birthday right. And it's, you know what, sometimes it's you've remembered, you've got it all perfectly, but a nice box of chocolates on top's good. And that's always a good way to keep that in there.
Yeah, I could definitely do with that. I'm not the best with remembering all the dates. Fabulous. And for the last C then, before we get into the exercise, customer rewards. So what do customers want in return for the loyalty that they give brands? So like any good relationship, retaining your customers is a two-way street. They expect something in return for keep coming back to you time and time again. And they want to know what potentially could be available to them, and just communicated transparently. So the report revealed that 1 in 3 loyal customers want early access to sales or limited editions. So consider using segmentation to send your repeat customers exclusive offers and advanced notifications to sales and events, to make them feel that VIP and different to the rest. And additionally, younger demographics are more willing to write product reviews and share user-generated content on social media in exchange for rewards. So make sure you encourage them to do so in your post-purchase communications, and just know that maybe one age group wouldn't be so likely to post things on social media, but reward the younger generation for doing that, and getting them engaged with social media and engaging more with the brand rather than just buying the products. So on to the first one, 29% want early access to sales or limited editions. So segmenting your customers and showing them different access times and making them feel special is super important. If everyone got the same treatment, why should someone be loyal to you? It's a really great example here from YouGarden, who incentivize their customers for VIP early access. Great way to drum up excitement and create that exclusivity feel for some customers to keep them loyal to your brand. 18% want rewards for product reviews, so pretty low percentage there. So again, it's something to test on your customer base to see what uplift there is and how it affects your customers. So ViaVet do this nicely here, saying you'll be a winner every month until December, so get moving. So again, something to test and segment different age groups or segments of shoppers, location, whatever it is that however your segmentation strategy is. But this could affect how many reviews you're getting. So therefore, again, something to have a think about and what the most effective way of doing this would be.
I think also don't be afraid to surprise and delight here, right? Like if somebody's got this example's a £50 voucher, but what we typically might see is, you might get a small, I don't know, 5-10% off discount code, something that you're likely doing once a month, once a quarter anyway, but you're making it, here's a one-off for your next order when you leave a review. But don't be afraid to say, well, look, this person's actually placed 10 orders with us. I'm going to give them a 20% off voucher instead, and just make their day a little bit different. It doesn't have to be the same reward. You don't have to advertise that either. It can just be somebody's job to pick one person a month that's placed an order and say, I'm going to surprise that person. It only takes that one person raving about you to make that difference in terms of, influencing others about how great you are.
Yeah, nice point there. I like that. And then finally on customer incentives, 15% want invitations to exclusive in-store or online events. So as the world is opening up again, people are hungry and want to engage with brands in person again. We've obviously been living this virtual world. So bear in mind, if you've got that in the strategy, again, segmenting your customer base with people who would be interested, meet like-minded people and get them excited about the brands with exclusive events and that complimentary experience for the products that they have bought with you before. Nice example here from Space NK, who were driving interest to Space Live, so treating their VIP customers and making them feel rewarded and again, connecting with that brand in a different way.
It's also, there's a really good example here in the middle where they're kind of doing an online event on Zoom, the kind of the second of those two, just to take Salons Direct out the chat because they're one of my favorite clients, but also just an amazing example here, complementary to the image, doing things that it doesn't have to be product related. Sometimes it can be just brand affinity. So for example, saying, here's how the best salons are reopening right now. Here's how they're preparing to open. We're going to some of our favorite customers. One, you're delighting and surprising that customer. We're going to some of our favorite customers to share their lessons with you so we can all prepare for this again together, right? You're not only one, highlighting some of your best customers and flattering them, and rightfully so, they're your best customers, but two, you're creating that thing of, we love salons. It's what we do. It's what we're here for, right? So how can we bring that back in and share that love with everybody? So with the kind of exclusive events, it's sometimes you can make it about the customer as much as for the customer in that sense, especially in the B2B space.
Yeah, amazing point there. Now we are on to the practical exercise, everyone. So I'll let Jamie take the reins. So
over to me. So like I said before, I want you to have a plan, right? I want you to make sure that we are kicking ass. Often in the kind of e-commerce maturity in general, the common mistake is to do as much as we can, as often as we can, as quick as we can, but not with much of a thought process behind it, right? It's not too much of a negative because it gets you where you are, but at some point you need to say, okay, I've got 50 ideas, I need to pick the best 5, or 50 ideas, what can go wrong so that I get these right the first time rather than having to do the equivalent of, say, 75 ideas because 25 need repeating, right? So I always advocate for a strategic approach that wraps around, so that we're kind of maximizing that return on investment, getting more things right first time, and focusing on the goals, planning, and going just through a thought process. So but when we're doing things, we're more likely to be right than we are wrong. Nothing wrong with being wrong in that sense. It happens to the best of us, but more just the more mature we are in e-commerce, the more mature we are as a brand, the more likely we are to get it right and right and right again, because we're kind of listening to our customers. We've got the right data. We've got the right kind of priorities in our plan, I suppose. So let's look at this slide in terms of, the great ideas that Vicky's gone through today. So we've got customers that want to be given rewards to know that it's not just about what they give you in terms of orders, but it's also about what you give them in that shared success, right? If we take the pet food example kind of midway through, it's like, how's the dog doing? Is it doing great? Is it better because this food's in their life, right? If we take beauty products, it's like, how's that skin looking? Like, how great do you feel right now? Do you feel better? Because if you don't, I want to hear about it so that I can recommend you something better. Like, it's how can we be in the middle of that conversation? And they want it to be easy. They want it to kind of, if you think about that best person who can just help you over the phone with absolutely anything, or when you look out and you get the store manager and been there for 10 years and they just know everything in the store that's ever been sold and they know everybody by name and all the rest of it, is how can you put some of that into the online experience to try and mirror that closeness that you might have, right? And ultimately they want to be kept in the loop. They don't want to be out of date. It needs to be useful, and it should feel, given that experience, like you're talking directly to them, because you are, for that moment that they're on your website, your email, your live chat, wherever it might be, social media especially. You're one-on-one. You've got their attention. It's not necessarily why you're worthy of it, but what are you going to do with that to kind of hold their attention and everything else. So next slide, Vicky. So what we're going to do in, I don't know, I'm going to say 10 minutes. I'm going to be really ambitious and say 10 minutes, and then you can panic in the chat live along with me, and I'll give you more time if it goes horribly wrong. But what we're going to do is we're going to build the best program our industry has ever seen, right? We are going to attempt that in 10 minutes instead of, say, half a day that this might take in workshops that we would typically run with our clients. And, really just try and put a semblance of a plan together, because ultimately I want to show you how easy strategy can be when you give yourself this time. And this morning you've taken the great choice of coming to this event. You've given yourself half an hour to make a difference in the business you work in, the business that might be yours, etc. And we want to make your future better, right? So if I can give you a glimpse of that in the kind of 10, 15 minutes, then I think we're doing a pretty good job, and hopefully this event's been pretty good for you, right? So like I said before, a lot of what we do is at JH is kind of being that outsider that helps the ideas flourish into the beauty they're going to be. A lot of that is getting you out of your own head, but it's also contributing to that grand vision and helping those ideas themselves. So what I want to do is have some fun with it, and hopefully through it being more fun in the next, I think I'm at 8 minutes now, you'll have more fun there in that 8 minutes than you would in workshops that really you just checked out 5 minutes in because you just thought this person's boring. They've got nothing to say. They're just giving me back my own ideas. This is awful, right? We've all been there. I don't want to put you in that place. So picture this in your head. You've got a loyalty plan in place. You've mapped out the steps. You know what you're going to do, right? You've got 9 wonderful ideas there that I've just covered from Vicky. I've covered some extra ones on top. Hopefully your mind's jogging in terms of, let me read this full report. Let me get access to the rest. But also you're thinking, how can I take that further? And you're translating it to your own business. So before we go ahead, what I want you to do is get as much right as possible the first time. So we're going to do what I call a pre-mortem, right? We're all familiar with the post-mortems. Normally there's somebody that it's just that person in the team, the one that always says, I told you so at the end, and you're almost like rolling your eyes, like, I wanted to avoid that, but God damn it, they're right. They did tell us, all the rest of it. And I want you to imagine that that for the sake of this exercise, not only do I run a great agency and that I'm doing this event today and you're having all this fun, but I can time travel too. I've got this amazing ability to do it. Nobody knows until now, but I'm sure there was an NDA signed at some stage that You can't tell anyone about this time traveling ability. So I've leapt into the future. You've called me into the room to help, and you say to me these words. You say, our retention plan has failed. Nobody's staying with us. They've all gone to somebody else. And it's not just a failure, but it's spectacular. It is history book level spectacular failure. People will read about it in the newspaper. You don't know how, but your relative who doesn't even know what you do for a living's found out, and they keep asking you how it failed so badly. The kid you didn't like at school knows about it too. Facebook's raving about it, right? We really don't want this to happen. So in this exercise, what I'm going to do, and I'll start the timer in a minute, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to jot down as many things you can think of that can cause that plan to fail. If the steps in your plan, the things that you are planning to do right, what goes wrong that leads that to happen? So I'm going to start the timer, and I'm going to talk over it a little bit, but I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I want you to jot down as many things you think can go wrong in that plan that are going to cause this spectacular failure in the future. If you are a JH client, you can say that JH got hit by a comet and you had to find another agency. That's fine. But as you're going to see in the next slide, it's not going to be a huge risk, right? If you want, if you're without pen and paper, I do understand a lot of people go digital. Feel free to type them straight into the chat, because I'm going to ask you to share some of your best in a minute. And this is a rare minute of silence in your day, so I will shut up until you've got 20 seconds left.
Come on, guys. Can't see much in the chat. Anyone feeling brave to share their ideas?
Well, we're gonna give them a minute, and then they're gonna share. But if they want to share in the meantime, they can. Give them a minute. This is the bit where you really get to say, I don't want that person to tell me I told you so. I'm going to get ahead. I want to make sure it doesn't happen, right? So what's going to go wrong in this plan that you've got in your head from the wonderful ideas you've heard so far today?
Need some countdown music on.
We do, don't we?
Do.
A bit of Jeopardy going on. Right, I've got 15 seconds. That's how quickly 2 minutes goes. In a doing this properly, you would normally have, say, 45 minutes, half an hour. It wouldn't be 45 minutes of silence. It would be lively debate, discussion, bumping over colleagues, trying to put post-it notes on walls, that kind of thing. Right, so 2 minutes. So we'll stop there. So you have all these kind of ideas in front of you, right? What you would typically be doing at this point is you've got a room of people that have independently wrote a whole bunch of reasons the plan's going to fail, right? The person who really likes to see you fail probably has about 100 things down, and that's a good thing, because now you know how to get past them so that they don't say I told you so. Fear is a good motivator as much as success is, right? We want the success to be there, but also we want to kind of just embrace that inner fear. Nobody wants the relative who doesn't know what their job is for a living to find out that they've spectacularly done wrong, and that's how all of a sudden they know what you do for a living, right? So you would typically, what you would do at this point is you would go around each of those the fears, the mistakes, etc., and you'd list them. You'd go through, and it'd be a bit of self-therapy, I suppose. You would kind of list out, this is what I think's gone wrong, this is my shortcoming, this is the shortcoming of the platform I use or the agency we might have, etc. And you've got that there. What we're then going to do, which you can see on the screen now, is you're going to group those into themes. So if I use the example I gave earlier of TikTok, I'd be saying that's high risk to me because I don't know how to run a TikTok account, never done it before. And it's unknown to me because I don't know anything about it. So it's going to go in that top right quadrant for me to investigate. I know I need to investigate that risk, that there's a high chance something's going to go wrong and that I know nothing about it. So it's going to balance automatically to that top right. So let me explain this diagram real quick, and then what we'll do hopefully is get some of these risks in the chat and just do a bit of quick sorting live. So feel free to pre-type your message if you want to. So this diagram, easily enough, is high risk to low risk on the vertical axis. So the higher the risk, the higher up it is in the graph, and the lower risk, the lower it is. And then you have known and unknown. So for example, if we pick, I don't know, my ERP cannot do this. It's a big blocker. Like, we're going to have to really overcome a lot of things to make sure that this integration or personalization works. You know it's a risk, so it's going to shift over to the left side of the graph. And then you're going to say, well, how much of a risk is it? Like, we know our ERP, we've got a damn good IT team. It's probably going to go into the low risk area, and you're going to defer it with confidence that it's not going to derail this project. It's not going to be one of these spectacular failures that lead to the relatives finding out, right? Does that make sense to you, Vicky? If it makes sense to you, it'll make sense to everybody else.
Yeah, no, it does.
Awesome.
Nice way of evaluating.
Anybody want to chuck any of their risks that they put in? They can be hypothetical. I've already given you the TikTok. I've given you JH getting hit by a comment, or a comment cheekily. I've given you the ERP as well. Any other risks coming up, or should I go through some that I have brilliantly pre-prepared? Let's see. What have we got? No. So what we really want to do here is the kind of 4 different, I'm going to call them quadrants, is we have the high risk and the known. So the top left, you want to make a plan to overcome that risk. You know the thing that's going to happen and it's high risk. You know the information. So it should be straightforward to put together a plan, right? You've got the low risk and known in the bottom left, which you can kind of defer but monitor if that chance of risk increases. So for ERP, we just can't overcome the first 10% of that project to get the data out, get the data in, whatever we might want to do, then we know we can escalate that and make it into a plan, and that we get the plan involved, right? We're going to set the criteria for doing that. In the top right, where it's a high risk problem and it's an unknown, I know nothing about it. To use my TikTok example, I'm going to investigate it. I'm going to go create a random account. I'm going to browse. I'm going to see what the hashtags related to my brand are, and I'm just going to investigate and learn a bit here, right? None of these need 10-page plans, by the way. Most of these will need a paragraph, 5 bullet points, just so that it's quick and easy to get it done in the room, so that you're not having to do an hour discussion per risk point, or that you can save that hour risk point for the one that needs the hour, right? And then finally, the things you've got at the bottom right is the low risk unknown, right? So you're going to evaluate the knowledge you've got, and what you find out may increase the perceived risk, or it might not. So you're going to say, well, actually, I'm going to go do a plan to make it more known to me, and then based on that, I'm going to reassign this part in the graph. So when you've got those, you're going back to the kind of all the risks you started with in the previous exercise. You're then able to make a plan to mitigate your riskiest and most certain reasons, the things that you think are going to cause that spectacular failure. And you're able to investigate the riskiest and uncertain reasons. So the things that you just don't know much about, but you think are quite high risk, you're able to investigate those too. So we've got confidence in the plan. We know our customers. We know what we want to do is possible, right? But by flipping on its head a little bit and looking at it from a risk awareness perspective, what we're really doing here is saying, but let's just double check that. And I'm pretty sure that my technology does this for emails and allows me to swap out live banners if someone opens it a month after I've sent it, when I've promised 10% off, and gives them a new offer that's still going on. Pretty sure it does, but someone has to go check, right? Like that's got to be part of the plan here, so that you aren't getting 2 months into a project and going, you know what, the system didn't do it and I should have switched system day one, rather than waiting till I got blocked here, right? So what we then do is the simplest step of all of it is we draw a 3-column table. We just do who, what, and when. Again, the people are in the room here, right? This is you've got to imagine it's a half a day. What we're doing here is we're starting with the who, and what we want everybody in the room to do is to say, of the risks on the screen, or ideally a whiteboard when we're all face to face in the room and everything else, in the assumption map that we've just drawn, who wants to take what's sticking out to you as something you're really interested in. And I don't want to stereotype here, but the kind of trendy person in the corner who maybe already knew what TikTok was or thinks it's great for them, have friends on there, whatever, they'll go, oh, I'm doing that straight away. That's the thing I want to do, right? We want people to step forward and own those actions and commit to them, especially in front of a group, because one, it's more fun for them. They're going to enjoy it. They're going to be happy. We want people to be happy and enjoying as much as possible about what they do. But two, when they declare they're going to do that in front of a group, they're much more likely psychologically to actually do it because they volunteered to do it rather than saying, you, TikTok now. That's not the same result, right? And as businesses here, you're attending the event today, you're going out, you're learning more on a constant basis. You want people to say, I want to learn more about that thing. Right? It also becomes more of a team success as a result. So you've got your first column, who, and then you've got the what, and you'll start listing all of those out, right? The things you've decided need a plan or that need investigating. The when column is particularly important here. You want people to commit to actual dates. You do not want them to say, oh, I'll do that in the next month, or I'll do it probably sometime next week. That's too vague. What it means is there's just an opportunity to do it Friday at midnight, which actually means Monday the following week, and do it late, or to come up with an excuse because it's not done by Friday afternoon. When you have somebody commit to say it's going to be Wednesday afternoon or it's going to be Wednesday, you know that they have to retroactively plan Monday or Tuesday to get that done in time, right? So again, it's a tiny lesson on kind of, setting assignments correctly inside teams, but it's a really important one to make sure that people actually do it really, really well. So I think I went to 10 minutes, 20 seconds there, according to my stopwatch running on the desk that I'm trying not to look at so it doesn't look like I'm just looking down all the time. So we come back to that idea, right? We're going to build the best retention program our industry's ever seen. That's what we're here to do. We're here to make sure that we stick out, that our brand is different, that it's special, because we know it is. There's a reason we work here. There's a reason this brand exists, that the founders and the owners created it. There's a reason we work for them, because we want to make it happen too. So we're really excited about the plan, and we want to make sure that plan has gone through that kind of micro stress test that I've just walked you through there, albeit, yes, in 10 minutes, to make sure that it's really fleshed out, that it's really robust, and we can get there. I just want to say, I believe in you. I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to do great things, and hopefully we'll hear a lot of really great retention plans come from this.
Amazing. Thanks so much for that, Jamie. I think that was really great, and some actionable strategies and ways of actually getting to the where you guys want to be. So I think that was great. And just to recap, guys, one more time. So in terms of what today we covered in the three areas, with Jamie's strategy, how can we make convenience better? So what consumers want to sail through the journey quicker, more unforgiving, and encourage loyalty. So make sure the store's navigation is intuitive and easy to use. Relevancy in your emails is a must. So I think I'm hearing a bit of repeat, Jamie. Avoid sending irrelevant emails, send personalized emails based on contextual real-time content, based on their life cycle, browsing behavior, all the rest, and make sure that it's interesting and relevant to that particular shopper. And incentivization is a win for all. So again, test it. Consumers expect something back in return. They want early access to sales, complimentary services, events, and yeah, make sure you're using segmentation to send the loyal customers, the VIP customers, something different that is personalized and specific to them. And consider getting a loyalty program in place to reward the repeat consumers for their loyalty. And as a little bit of a giveaway, I want to call it, we've created a ultimate customer loyalty lookbook. So there's a combination of Fresh Relevance and JH examples in. So we'll send that round as a follow-up for you guys. So it's packed with 15 real life B2C personalization examples to boost customer loyalty. So again, we will send this round after the event. So hopefully there's some things that you can take from in there. And that is all from us today. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope that was a nice start to your day. And yeah, if you've got any questions in terms of what I covered, then that's my email address there. And again, if you want to sharpen up on the exercise that Jamie ran through, then that is his email as well. Fabulous.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much. If there are any questions, do pop them in the chat. So do let me know. But if not, yeah, just follow up on via email. The thank yous coming in.
It's always lovely to see, isn't it? It's always nice.
Yeah, always nice. That was great, Jamie. I love that.